The two exhibits to see right now, Keith Haring and Between Two Islands. So here for the DJ Jazzie B talk at the AGO associated with the Between Two Islands exhibition, and looks like it's all home week for the music DJ communities here. I guess there's also art. Oops. There's my buddy, you know, sell it here. But I actually put this on because, sorry to videotape it because of that music. This is the music with a steel pen. All right, that's what we're here for. You know, I don't know why I'm not engaged by clouds. I'm just not engaged by it. You know, there's some things that you... It's funny how that can be. There's lots of things. Oh, I do love Georgia O'Keeffe, though. Who else? You know, what's the name of that woman here? She was a fashion person. Now she does art. Oh, she always reminds me of her. Oh my God. Newman, I think her name is Newman. Kristen Newman? Kristen? There they have my book. I wonder what that track is called. I hope I get it loud enough that I can Soundhound or Shazam it. I think her name is Kristen Newman, who reminds me of Georgia O'Keeffe. Every time I see her, striking, stunning woman, just like classic. I have a photo with her actually at an event because I just find her, you know, some people who just don't need no makeup, they don't need nothing, and just stand up beautiful. Things are going, things are pop off now. Let's see, water's coming out. Of course, it's late now. It's so funny, you know, in this community. I guess I might do it to some people too. You never know what you're doing to other people, but there are people in this community who I have known, seen around for years, and they see you, and it's like they don't see you. You know, it's very odd. And then there are other people who, you know, I don't even really know them, but you see them, you nod your head, you, hey, how you doing? You even sometimes hug, and I have no knowledge of them this young, seeing them at these kinds of things. And then other people see you and then just freeze you out. And it's something that happens in all kinds of environments I go in, where you have some people who connect with you and some people who, I mean, there are people who don't connect with you, but then there are people who feel it's almost intentional, like it's a deliberate kind of, go engage you. And then you think, what story do you think, did I have a history with them and maybe piss them off or do something? You never know, right? I mean, yes, there are people I know who I see and I don't engage with because I have my reasons and I know them, but there are just other people who you just see around for years who just never warm to you. There, you know. Oh, this is interesting. There you go. I think you just grow some locks and there's the man.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to this wonderful talk with Jazzie B and Dr. Kenneth Montague. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Bojana Stančić. I'm the program curator of live programs and performance here at the AGO. And we are hosting this event in relationship to the beautiful exhibition that just opened last week called Life Between Islands, Caribbean British Art, 1950 to today. And Jazzie did a beautiful sort of DJ set last night, and now we're here for the talk to delve more into your mind, space, work, and life. So thank you so much for joining us as well.
Yeah.
Jazzie has also apparently never been to Canada, so like we're really sort of having you both times at the AGO for your inaugural visit.
It's been, it's a definite vibe, yeah. I feel it, quite comfortable, strangely enough. I don't know why it should seem strange, but yeah, things and times. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just going to do a brief bio. I know that Jazzie needs a lot of introduction, but I just do want to acknowledge some of his major accomplishments, and as well Dr. Kenneth Montague, who's joining us today as moderator. Let's start with Kenneth. Dr. Kenneth Montague is a Toronto-based dentist, art collector, and the founding director of Wedge Curatorial Projects, a non-profit arts organization. Since 1997, Dr. Montague has been promoting both emerging and established artists by exhibitions, lectures, and workshops. His focus is African Canadian and diasporic art, which he also showcases in his privately owned Wedge collection. He is a trustee and advisor for various major institutions and photography prizes, as well as an invited lecturer on contemporary art. His most recent accomplishment, of which there's obviously many, is spearheading the prestigious Aperture Foundation first record release, comprised of classic and contemporary Black music made throughout the diaspora, titled Sounds from the Black Atlantic. And our featured and most esteemed guest, Jazzie B, is a British-born DJ and music producer. He's the founder of the iconic Grammy Award-winning ensemble Soul to Soul, who has also produced and remixed tracks for many other major recording artists. Jazzie B was born in London, UK, to parents of Antiguan descent, and in recognition for his many contributions to British culture, his music, a clothing line, a record shop, radio shows on pirate radio station Kiss FM, and the BBC, of course. In 2008, he was appointed Officer of the Order of the British Empire. Amongst Jazzie's most recent accomplishments is his venture into the realm of literature, captivating audiences with his latest masterpiece, A Happy Face, a Thumping Bass for a Loving Race. A work that takes you on an enchanting journey into Jazzie B's personal experiences and profound insights, unraveling the transcendent power of music to bridge divides and foster an inclusive society. Some of you were lucky enough to pick up one before the talk. And without further ado, I will pass it over to the conversation between these two amazing people. And just to let you know, we will have time for a Q&A at the end as well. So take it away. Thank you so much.
Thank you both. Yeah, Jazzie B. This is a last minute gig. Y'all were expecting Cadence Weapon, who's a friend of mine, Rolly Pemberton, couldn't do it, and I got the last minute call, but I was thrilled because, as I said to Jazzie outside, longtime fan, like all of us. I can remember coming out of dental school, mid-'80s, visiting my relatives in Croydon, and going to the fridge at Brixton, but I was at the Paul Smith store on Floral Street in Covent Garden because, gotta get some British fashion when I'm there. And it was a Sunday afternoon, it was late, I just got into the store, I walked out, and there was the Africa Center, Covent Garden, and I got to a Sunday night party, Soul to Soul at the Africa Center, a memorable night, I have to say. For all of you who are fans, you know what the foundation that Soul to Soul laid, the importance of it. I have to say, in my 1 hour of research here for today's lecture, I had to pull a little quote. Just if you give me a moment here, it'll take 2 minutes. But of all places, I found a great little synopsis about the influence of your debut album, Club Classics Volume 1, from Apple Music, of all things. What is Soul to Soul? The London collective's linchpin Jazzie B ponders on Jazzie's groove. Well, we're a sound system, an amalgamation of good dance music. In hindsight, it's a deceptively modest appraisal. This album did far more than aggregate the sounds of late 80s London club life. It completely reset possibilities for dance music and revitalized the UK soul and R&B scene that was in thrall to what was happening across the Atlantic. By the time Virgin Records approached them with the idea of making an album, Soul to Soul was already a multi-armed enterprise. A sound system, a clothing brand with its own shop, a club night so popular that they occasionally had to ask punters to leave halfway through so the queues outside could be let in. A broth of soul, R&B, house, hip-hop, and Afrobeat, Club Classics Volume 1 channeled the diversity and innovation of the capital's underground dance scene. It's all emboldened by the superb, but at the time, little-known singers, including Karen Wheeler and Rose Windros, and infused with an Afrocentric spirit of positivity and inclusiveness. Nothing else to say, I'm out. All right, so let's take it from the top, Jazzie. Origin story. I heard that the folks are from Antigua, mine are from Jamaica. I'm assuming your folks got over to the UK sometime in the 50s, 60s. Break it down, tell us where you come from and how you grew up.
Okay, so the family is big. We come from a big family, originating from Antigua and Barbuda, otherwise known as Wadudley. And my parents kind of started the family there, I guess as young teenagers, whatever, crazy in love. And had a bunch of kids and everything there. And then at some point decided to look for better prospects, and within the colonies and the streets paved with gold, and here's a great opportunity, we need you, kind of thing. And then they came over to England, 1-1, as it used to happen. And I guess the whole journey and the experience, I'm blessed to be close to the last child, but I shared a lot of time with my parents because I was in a situation that enabled me to basically bring them on the road with me. So my mum became my personal assistant, and my dad, of all things, became like my valet. And we use those terms because of tradition and what I'd known from the business. And yeah, it was just like having mum and dad on the road, which didn't fare too well with my other siblings. But that's the next story still. But, so I'm born and raised in England, and my brothers and sisters before me came from a culture where they had to fit in. And it would seem so alien to fit in because they were born there. And
but those were the times, yeah.
Well, I mean, even still with all the isms that one has to go through, strangely enough, as I can reflect, the class system allowed a kind of jet stream if you were savvy, if you knew your things. And I say that because within the class system, it wasn't so much of a discrimination in terms of, if you just want to get to the next stage and every mickle, meckle, muckle. So in terms of whatever one can do, you get by. So that was the ethos, technically, behind growing up in...
were you always in the music scene when you were a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old? Were you, what got you in? Was it the church? Was it the club? What got you into music?
guess kind of like the church and boys brigade, because they had the drum and, you know, between the snare and the bugle. Drama lessons. I don't know, we had some weird drama lessons growing up. You know what was really interesting though? I'm born in the 60s. So I came from an incredible time of music.
Yeah, we're the same age actually.
And music had melody. At 9 years old, I guess my parents were trying to arm us with some kind of intellect. We had to go to Saturday school. Yeah, it was kind of geeky, but it was interesting because I think pre the church, that's where a lot of stuff was happening behind the curtain then, when you went to the bathroom and stuff like that. So those were all the isms that allowed me to dream. And I'm living basically in the shopping window of the rest of the world. And I got to realize that possibly through church and a thing in the Caribbean that we call susu and partner. So being the kind, well, basically I had a chopper bike was the mode of transport, and each child, you know, you had your runnings, you know, you were allocated things to do. So susu and partner was something that, because I guess I had a bike and I used to run all the errands, I started to run the susu and partner, and you could possibly say that changed my life. So you realize it's not the flour to make the patty, it's not how much ingredients you put in the patty, it's how you stretch the little money that you can build 10 patty for the price of 1 patty. When you throw the dance, it's like susu, so you take the money from the gate. But bankers smile, because the banker is the one who controls the venue. And I'm trying to make it all legal, but the license, you control the license, so the liquors, the sharash, the herb, and everything you control. So as a little child, I'm behind all of these things. It's the 70s, I get the opportunity to play around with electronics. RTVC was the shop. It's in a place called Edgware Road. I built my first amplifier from a little, used to get these like magazines and stuff, and you could build transistor
it's like
radios.
Popular Mechanics, those kind of.
Yeah. So I grow in sound still, you know, as a little boy. I'm talking more, I jump a little bit, yeah, so I'm in the 9s. So they say 7s, yeah. Some of the boys a little behind, so I'm in the 9s. And in the 9s, it's like, I picked up the idea of the magazines. I had a very, I guess, broad imagination, because I used to take licks for that, because I was always curious. Yeah, well, that's what I called it. But yeah, and all those things allowed certain other things to manifest. So I had the culture, I had the class. I was up against a background of, you know, like schooling and order, against the backdrop of my mentor as I'm coming up now, sound system, being in the banisters and seeing, well, go on, you know, certain people go to church on Sunday and wash Monday. So all the isms, I can see these things happening.
And who was that mentor? Like the first sound system you were with?
My brother's sound. There's 4 sound system live in my house, my parents' house. So all the brothers, they all have sound systems from they play somebody else's sound, or they have their own sound. And sound system from the Sansui amp and the Serwin Vega speakers that used to put into the Cortina Mark II, because the boot have plenty space, and carry your sound. against the backdrop of my sound, one speaker, little amps, whatever, the number 14 bus from Hornsey Road down to the Cali, carried my transport, and I still played my sound like that. My first introduction into the world of the sound system, and I'm the owner of the sound now. The Queen Silver Jubilee 1977.
I was there that year, I remember it. Sex Pistols were number
Right.
one. Yeah, I remember.
Well, my brothers and the families, they're all involved in the community and so on and so forth. So I get the break. I get the note 8 weeks before that we're going to have the street party, and you're always making noise. You DJ the night. So that was like, I had my opportunity. Now, it sounds really like, but to be in that position, I think you call it humbleness, but you have to quiet. And in them times there, not that anybody, you don't like a wise guy, but again, I'm from a class system. So the elders were always wrong and strong. You see me? So you have to appreciate all of those little angles, They were important. As important as sometimes when something's out of phase and your engineer's talking stupidness and it's working. Well, make it work. I don't want you to fix it, I want it to make it work. So draw back to some partners with all those kind of things. What would you call it, like, not Del Boy, but the family just, every mickle make a muckle. If we can make something from there, you stretch it, you make it da-da-da-da. So I applied that to what I called my sound system. And the unique thing about my sound system in that era, post the 70s, Queen Silver Jubilee, 1977, seeing Emperor Roscoe play Fat Man at Alexander Palace, and Roscoe had an orange sound system facing the audience, and the other sound had their boxes around. All little nuances like that, because when you hear Roscoe play on orange, the sound, its sound is down, what we call downbeat. It's really dropping. And it had
shaking bass,
It was interesting because it turned out orange systems were for rock guitars in the 70s. It's the most weightiest thing. But then for you to use that for high fidelity, do you see the thing where I'm going with this? So it was always taking something from the East and blend with the West. And that was my knowledge as a child. Innocently, seeing this go down, because I'm in the cellar when they're building the sound. We have this thing called brasso. You know what you polish with?
Yeah.
I polish the amps. The amp case, that's my job. You see me? So I know the KT88s, the 85s, the 86. I know how the transformer works. I know not to trouble that. When you plug that in, this have a ceramic plug, this have a plastic plug, these kind of things. And I'm behind all these guys. I'm not like educated like that, but I like the smell of acetates. I like the smell of valves. I like the horsehair in the speaker things. That would make I know so much about the sound thing, because I used to buy the Radio Shack of the time. You see me? That's why even to come to the Americas and see the style of amplification and fidelity in Britain, we have a push and pull thing. You lot just got noise. Not noise, but like how America is, you have like this bigness, it's like everything is big. And
you were into the nuance, you weren't like...
we knew that it wasn't just power and brawn that meant the thing, is intellect and savvy and clarity and the detail. So that was put into my sound system. So when big sounds are playing, they're playing like 200, 500 watts. I learned to play less wattage and be more clarity. My dances are going on. when the sound brought down in this street, that street, the other street, my sound is still playing.
Yeah, it's a really clever strategy, actually.
It wasn't a strategy, King.
But it is.
Look, after everything done, right, and now I'm in these kind of places and we're trying to make out what it is and rare. That was the beauty in what we were doing. We had no inhibitions, right? There was no code. I'm the guy who fell off. We in the riots. I'm not flinging any stones and bottles. I'm the one who's bringing the water. I'm the one who's carrying the casualty. I'm the one who might kick over whatever the tool is that, brother used to go and whack that guy. And stuff. That was my thing. I made that up because I had to be part of the bullshit.
But Jazzie, that sense of care, that ethos of community is what we all feel and felt with Soul to Soul, with your collective. That is that part of you that made that thing so special. I mean, there was the music, there was musicianship, all of that stuff critical, but this other thing that's much more intangible was around this love that radiated between you all, and then you could feel it in that club. You could feel it on the record, which usually you didn't have that sense of, the vibe of a band when it was recorded. And Club Classics, I mean, we had it here as Keep On Moving. That album, for so many of us, it still remains a top 10 album. I got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old kid that are always singing, African dance, and they're singing freeze. They sing all this jazz. They singing Back to Life. It's kind of timeless music. I'm going to actually bring us to that because it's such an important record. That beat that you all put down with Keep On Moving, I knew that beat. That was that beat from Eric B. and Rakim, Paid in Full. I knew that beat, but there was something else that you did with the Reggae Philharmonic Orchestra, with those voices that really took that to another level. For me, this sense of, I would almost call it the festivity of the thing. It was very jazz-like. It wasn't so much like popular music at the time. You felt this sense of improvisation, and I really felt that seeing the collective live. For me, the foundation, was laid for so many groups that I went on to love. Massive Attack and that scene from Bristol. You worked with Nelly Hooper, who was with the Wild Bunch that became Massive, and all of those artists of that time. Some of them played in Toronto. Tricky and Smith and Mighty, and all. That was kind of where I was at. And Soul to Soul, really, you were the catalyst for a scene that still reverberates. So can we talk a little bit about, just specifically about the two big singles that kind of put the group on the map internationally, Back to Life and Keep On Moving. Back to Life, a song that, for me, I listen to the lyrics and you feel like it might be about a relationship, but it always felt more spiritual to me, as if, Karen Wheeler's singing about something, between her and God. But you tell me if you could tell us all a little bit about that song, the genesis of it, that memorable video. Talk to us.
The song actually started off as, it was in an area that we were moving to. So the idea of the rhythm, as I'm talking in sound system terms, so the rhythm, coming from Fair Play and I Had a Dream, was always the emphasis. So that was the groove, and then you need, when we were running dubs, you needed other things. So the idea of taking the production to the level where it became Keep On Moving, it was about that jazz. It was about taking things that didn't necessarily work together, incorporating everything that was familiar, and then the weird thing about the lyrics, the weird thing about the lyrics is the lyrics was about us getting chucked out of another venue, like they'd caught up with us basically, and it was an extension of, like I said, Fair Play. That was chapter 1. That's Club Classics. The Groove and However Do You Want Me was the transition into volume 2. But we got caught up in the system that you had to deliver the next record to da-da-da. So the truth of the whole record, we called the record Club Classics Volume 1. The concept was to go 7 volumes. The idea of it was to inspire or trick all sound men to play soul to soul. We wanted to be the biggest sound system in the world. We couldn't physically do that because there was one point in the vision where we got caught up on ourselves because we were hiring the sound systems out so much, which is the link between Nutriment in London and all the, like before you knew hip hop, right? So in those days when I used to hire my sound, it was to a scene what was called electro. And we were B-boys, all right? And that's on the tail end of a fashion, which my equipment was so, like people like the look of it. So people like Ray Petrie, the Twins and all those guys, they used to hire my system just aesthetically. Then it moved on. Because the sound system, I built an efficient sound system. I was traveling from London to Chapeltown in Leeds, all navigated along the church line that we were running from the 70s. So I knew all the different, stops to go to. If I enticed the big sounds that were more forward thinking to come and play with me, and then we started to build our community. That's how our music community came established. Making the record it didn't backfire, it just happened, it took an interesting turn. The point was, I had lubricated every scenario that would allow this product to work. I come from in the background of me being, having resources. Yes. I had everything in place. I was the king of the bootlegs. I had market stalls, every independent, from the man who signed me, Mick Clark, Lord Monson, the soul mafia. So it's like I had a link with the white people. And it was you wouldn't necessarily see it on the surface, but it was inverted. Because the thing why Babylon can't Tessite is because whenever we went into situations, there was never someone like me. So my other brothers would cry, oh, it's so hard, da, 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 da. No, we'd have to turn that around, make that work.
I understand.
But all the real issue was, it was just fear of the unknown. When I buck up with the Soul Mafia, to today, I'm still loyal to Lord Monson and Solar. Solar is the original soul pirate from pirate days. So if you're in and amongst them, that's the connoisseurs. So that's man that I was selling bootlegs to. These are guys who bring in the sound thing, you make the music, right? So in the sound system, you brought the artist. You're the one who breaks the artist. It's only in your area. So you cut a dub and you're saying you're a singer or something. If I play it's like the radio. Then the extension of my sound system was pirate radio, because how we deal with sound, with how we clap sound, that's how you play. It's not just songs you play, it's selector play, like it's your intention. So
it's intentional, yeah.
You play all the same records, but it's how you draw how you select, how you draw, and then that is what the fever is with our people following us. So when you came to Soul, it's a show. You see MCs, you see DJ, you see people you want to be in there. And that trick was a thing called make it inclusive. So all sounds were exclusive. So me done brought them all and said, like, no man, bring the sound forward. So that's why Simon Law, this one, that one, Dean, or even play sound with Dean and them, man. All of them is part of this community. And they're the ones who make the dance now.
And you know, you could really feel that energy. It was the kind of sound system, like it never lulled, like it was always building.
Well, you see, those things I learned from original sound masters, all right? You know, Safrana B, Suckle, you know, Count Barry. In the earlys, the big sound, we said Banker Smart. Big sound is the man who got the money to invest in the equipment. The cottage business that came from that is when you're a boss artist. To burst the artist, you're the only one who's playing the tune, right? And then the sound systems come along, so they come to people like me. I can print more than one record. We can't make out the money.
Economics.
If you have the intellect now and you have the resources, it's the next thing. Because you could be a barber, a carpenter, a builder, you know, all these things. I draw to be a sound man, and my dream was to be the biggest sound in the world. So I took all the elements of every single thing. All them sounds that wouldn't play that, I go in there. I play Sandringham Road, where a man held a knife to my throat and said to me, if you can't make up your mind if you're a dread or a ballad, I'll cut your throat right now. And that's when I knew my sound had made it. It wasn't about that, you know? You know, there's some frightening things that happened, you know what I mean? Like, enough time you would have kicked man down the stairs and but even in the earlys when, you know, like my mentor, Paul Anderson, I carried boxes and everything. We used to play for Palmer and Bigfoot and them. These are little, entrepreneurs in each corner of the globe, right? And I stutter because that's how you mention when you call a Don, because you're so frightened, you stutter, you see what I mean? So if he asks you anything and you have to do it. So for me, I was put in certain situations because, you know, the people I'm amongst are notorious. So how they washed their money was the blues, and I'm comfortable with that, you see me? And we had means of being able to take that because I control the door, I control the bar, I control the sharash, everything. And then,
you're a businessman, Jazz.
Well,
you're a businessman.
See, it wasn't like that, because even when the person said, why did you make the t-shirt? It wasn't to sell the t-shirt. It was when Babylon come, we could identify who's running the dance. So the people who needed to know where to get out, to tell the shotter, you got to move, those were people we could easily identify on the mic, you know? And we had all different slangs, even to the point where if you're not dancing, fuck off. That was because that was a slang sometimes used when we knew that the police was outside. So the bad man was in at a dance, so they would know to look for the exit. These are just regular things. Where I born and grow, the way they live is like chess, and it's the most. That's economics, knowledge. This power of knowledge, and even everything what you do, even down to the music, just the simplicity in the air of the music. That what make I love the groove. And all of these things apply the same strategy to soul to soul.
It's great. I'm gonna pull this into contemporary art a little bit. You're here really around this amazing show that Julie Crooks and Emily Croning have brought to the AGO in Toronto, and I encourage all of you to go visit the galleries afterward and see Life Between Islands, which is really an important show. Originated in London at Tate Britain, and in Julie's version here, I think the wayfinding, the way through the show tells a story. And you perused the show and saw it yesterday. These are artists with themes that really speak to folks of our generation, and particularly that you come from that place. Interestingly, I picked up a book in my library, The Black Atlantic, by Paul Gilroy, and who's a scholar in London, and he talks about, like, there's actually in the first chapter of the book, he talks about Keep On Moving and about the single, and about using the particular song because he considers the song emblematic of a Black transatlantic conversation. The song, he says, is notable for its expansion across nation states, being produced in England by a group of people with Caribbean ancestry, but having also been remixed into a Jamaican dub format in the United States. That was Teddy Riley, and Gilroy describes the song as an expression of, and I'm quoting now, the restlessness of spirit which makes the diaspora culture vital, unquote. So, interestingly that, the person who kind of wrote the book, who came up with this term, the Black Atlantic, that I used as a subtitle with my own book about my collection and the record, the Black Atlantic is something that, you didn't have to study that. That's who you are, the Black Atlantic, this sense of community through the diaspora. And maybe you could talk a little bit about the single Keep On Moving and its resonance around the world. For me, that was a bigger single even than Back to Life. For me, Keep On Moving was the essential song from Soul to Soul. If you could tell us a little bit about that.
It's my favorite song.
Me too.
The song encompasses everything. It was the gateway that allowed, Silent Productions to be and have the platform. Every element of that collective effort is Soul to Soul. That's the number one song. That's the alpha and omega. That's the bookend. It's it. I go, it'll be weird sometimes because there must be, like, as a soundman, I cut enough dub of it. Even different takes that Karen did with it and everything. The process that the song went through, not exhausting, but everybody involved gave 110%.
You can really feel that. It's a collaborative thing. Yeah.
And the beauty of it was just the idea. All the other things that happened afterwards was a consequence of that. And that's what kind of got to live with. We used to, like the big sound man used to say, the sound feeds a lot of people. We never realized that to the record. Sell. Because I guess it's like the change in, what people who were involved in it, what it did to them. Yeah, I suppose it had to happen, and ever grateful. But yeah, it was the. You would have said, like, would you redo this again or that again and blah blah. You have to understand that. Turn off that phone, please. Nah, just kidding. Right, bit of British banter for you. Who was on there anyway? Was it for me? I hope it was a good question. Yeah, the songs, you know, it's everything. The song, again, started off as a group that came out of Fair Play, that moved on. Part of Fair Play was I Had a Dream, which was the dub. We used to put all the acapellas. It was Martin Luther King's speech. Everything that was on that speech, quintessentially, was the essence of the record. So Piece of Time, Rosemary, blah, 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 so on and so forth. It's all part of that. And then it was all, every muscle, it wasn't even draining, it was such a great experience. And you know what it's like when you bun sativa for the first time? Yeah, it's that kind of vibe. That's what, it's happy and sad. It's sad and happy.
It's so great that you say that, because the melancholy I feel in that song in particular, the music has a melancholy as much as it's uplifting, which is such a difficult trick as a musician to kind of have that, you know, a pop song, a popular song, elicit both of those emotions. There's a melancholy to Karen Wheeler's voice, the strings, the Reggae Philharmonic Orchestra. You know, it was a bit like Isaac Hayes' Shaft. Like, it had this symphonic thing going on that made it feel very sophisticated, and yet there was a super simplicity to this track. It was just like there was music before, and then it hit, and then it changed everything. Like, yeah, you know, we're the same age, so you must have been around a 24, 25-year-old when that was happening. That's amazing to me. I was like studying in dental school, bored out of my head. And you were like having a #1 song around the world, and it's just kind of fascinating, man. I think about it, not, you know, but more retrospectively, when being that age with that success after working that hard, because you were a hustler, you just told us, you were hustling. And then everything changes. What's it
Well,
like?
you see, the thing about the song, I mean, it's incredible, some of the things you're saying, but
It's true.
I'm going to draw it back to simple things. As a DJ and a selector, and you played the sound, it was your job to make sure people brought the drinks, stayed in the venue, and everything that you draw as a selector is in that moment. So the tune now, really, when you check it, when I said all the energy from you, it's made from every song that I select. All right, if you listen to Fair Play, it's not a traditional song why I couldn't get on the radio. But that was my idea to be a producer, so I was making stuff for the radio. And it's like, they don't get the selector, they don't understand. When you hear Fair Play, let's bring it back. It's got so much air in it and the groove. If you know how to draw dub, the tune can't done. And when I put together the elements, and like I said, everybody put 110% in it. It coming like the Black Star line. I only didn't know where it's going. You know, you really didn't know. All you know is this guy say, one make a decision and the rest will follow. Come we go. Yaso the vessel. So for me now, I was following the idea that I have to bust this sound, I've got to bust that sound, I've got to kill Rap Attack, I've got to kill Fresh Beat, I've got to kill. Listen, in one tune, When your sound is playing the next sound and they counteract you, you got one tune to play. So that's keep on moving. And it would always get you out of any shit. Any DJ, you know what I'm talking about, right? When you got to draw for one tune because everyone's leaving and they're getting on your nerves, that's what the selector does, yes? When Big Man, the big owner of the club and so on, he will say to you, you've got to play souls. You mean, what you got to play soul music? Them times we was like a young, like ragamuffin sound, not ragamuffin sound, but we were like a traditional root sound. So that's why when you hear my dubs, they always say, I write alone, right? We come to teach our roots and our culture. These are all, whether it's Shabba cut dub for me or Gregory Isaacs, anybody who was cut, it was always about the journey. The record fair play is the alpha and the omega of the DJ, of the selector, and to me, that's what would win the dance. And that's why you would come back to my dance next week. That's how we made the resources. That's how I could make more dubs. That's how we could buy equipment. That's how we could pay other people to bring their ideas to make the record. Volume 2. Volume 2 was supposed to be back to life. The extension of, but this isn't the volume. That's on the volume, what we had to put out, and the record company, every mickle make a muckle, right? And you have to do it, whatever you have to do. But that's what that was about. It wasn't the story. I'm here today to tell the story, which is what the book is about. So you join the dots then. No one knew where the Black Star Liner was going. No one in the sound knew where the sound was going. If everybody knew where the sound was going, they'll be pulling me to West London. You'll be pulling me to, I've got girls in this place, I've got girls there.
Yeah. How you gonna
If the sound don't have any girl, you can't bring any man, yes? If man doesn't come, they're the ones with the disposable income. I'm only putting it nice now because I learned, you get me? But it wasn't about that. This made, if you had women in your sound, that's why I had female selectors. I had female MCs. You would never go to Zulu Warriors dance and see how I present the sound. So our king, Jashaka, Zulu Warrior, is our king in sound system. If you go to Shaka's dance, it's like roots. You drink roots, you drink tonic. All right, so when you come to my dance now, you're drinking Hennessy. You know, you may be involved in some extracurricular things. You have an expansion. And that's what I was doing. And again, with the record, you had a little bit of this, a little bit of that, the familiarity, and so on and so forth. So the record was about that. It was, and again, if I told you I was playing in this place, because every time you told someone you're playing in this place, the dance flopped. Because he told someone else, and then someone got another place, and then mash up your dance. You have to fit up your own. Those were all things that I learned as a youth. You know, cleaning the used to be silly string and blah, blah, blah. I never understood why clubs had carpet. Anyway, in them days, you know, that was all the thing. So I was always amongst that, and that's what I applied to the sound system. I used the same ethos in the business, and it wasn't necessarily like for the business to be, this, that, the other, or game changer. What I realized now, back to life, excuse the pun, it's about the village raising the child. It's about the stories. Look, it's bigger than me. I'm just a custodian of it, and one makes the decision and the rest will follow. And I keep polishing that. And that's the Brasso mentality, looking after the KT88. Just going, everything, the the complication of it is, the complication of the thing, my part is to make it simple. And that's what it is. I'm on this one, so thank you. But yeah, that's what it is, and it's all about, it is about keep on moving, and everything else from that is a consequence of what happened with that.
Thanks so much for letting us know the story behind. The influence of Soul to Soul can be felt in contemporary music. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts about music being made today. Let's be more specific, music being made in Britain today. Dance music, club music, and popular music. How do you feel about it? Are you encouraged by new artists in the scene? Are you disappointed by music right now? How do you feel as a originator of a sound that so many people have taken the baton and run with? How do you feel about modern music?
It's fantastic and it's great and it's everything. Look, I'm just a punter. I'm a punter, do you know what I mean? I buy records, I listen for other stuff. The kids that are, around me, they play me stuff, you know what I mean? Most of the stuff I get, I'm not really, I wouldn't draw for it. But I'm inspired. I was at Honey's gig last night. She played the clapper. And I was like, remember Dee, when she drew for that tune, and I was telling you, see the groove there? And you know what I mean? So I might give her a call later and say, well, what's that dub you were playing earlier? I want a piece of that. And I'm in it, do you know what I mean? You play me anything. From Judy Zook all the way through, I don't know, somebody in Malawi. It might have a sound. Anything that deals with my frequency, I need that. And I'm not interested in anybody who, I'm not the one to say, your tune is good or your tune is bad or this state of this, that. I'm old, what do you want? I would say that anyway, innit? We're on a split on the corner and I'm gonna cuss everything, you get me? Doesn't mean I mean it, it's just, the medicine talking, isn't it? But at the end of the day, sometimes when I open my bags and stuff and something drops out, a man might give me a music, you see? And I mean, I even have the format to play a CD to. But you know what? When me come on with them CD, I'm going to find the CD player and play it. You get me? Because I'm thinking there might be something on there and clap. That's how I do it. Any tune, you could get anything. There's a producer, a writer I work with right here. He will tell you, right, they not get vexed when I draw for the tune because they're like, oh no, I didn't play this one. That I have to play the sound tonight. And that's the mentality. Because then if I know that it carries something and it fits in the set and I can draw for it, it's the next up I got. This thing about time is longer than rope. So therefore, if I carry 16 dubs to play in the hour and I can fit 24, me draw for 48.
I see what we're dealing with.
Yeah. And you get me. And then it doesn't matter who's in the room. And then if all else fails, I just keep on moving.
I'll tell you what. I would love to turn it over for some questions. I'm just so thrilled. I'm kind of giddy up here. I'm up here with Jazzie B from Soul to Soul. Yeah. All right. Questions. All right, I'll hand the mic over to you.
Okay, Ken, wait.
You got one? All right, okay. She'll come around to you next.
Hi,
Actually, I just want to say a couple formative moments for me. Hearing Fair Play on Pirate Radio in Bristol as a kid. It's a big one for me. And the day I was leaving to move to Toronto, I was listening to Club Classics Volume 1 as I left my house. So yeah, it was big for me. Questions though? I guess my question, so because I'm from Bristol originally, there was a talk, you did talk a bit about the Wild Bunch sound system, which I was aware of growing up. And Nelly Hooper was kind of in both crews at one point. As a Bristol, this is a selfish Bristol question. How did that happen in terms of Nelly Hooper actually moving to that crew? Is one question, because I've never seen a Nelly Hooper interview anywhere in the entire world, and I was one of the things I'm curious about. And another question I had was just kind of about sound systems as a whole. And in that period in the late 80s in the UK, there was a lot of pressure I felt as a kid where, black people there was a lot of things going on. Brixton, St. Paul's in my own city, Handsworth in Birmingham. And it seemed really important that the spaces that sound systems could create, could have, and then the message that you were sending in all of that seemed to be really important for black people in the UK. So I guess wondered what you thought, in hindsight now, what you thought the role of the sound system was in all of that, so those are my questions.
Yeah, I wasn't part of all that. They were, my connection to Bristol is St. Paul's. My family's the Henry family. I ran a residency from Chapeltown right down to Bristol, Bath and that. That was my circuit, so I used to run the blues dances. And those blues dances were connected with family members who would either be in the church or hustlers. And these hustlers were good hustlers. So they owned houses. And through our network, that's how we connected. And it just so happened we were blood family. So all my residencies were blues dances, traditionally. And then because I did well in that, I moved from the blues dances to, wasn't legitimizing, it was just an easier way to deal or to be part of the jet stream of what was going on. Because we had created this vortex with the changing of the sound system. So root sounds, no one was going to them dances. Sound system costs a lot of money, right? When you build your sound. You can't just build a sound. You have to keep it somewhere, the sound has to run, and so on and so forth. 90% of the sounds we played were redundant because it was people who had romantic ideas. So that's that chapter. Then the thing about Bristol now, you're the truth, for one to be the biggest sound system in the world. So you say, we broke hearts, we broke song, and that's what happened with the Wild Bunch. My hero was Milo. Daddy G used to play the sound. My relationship with Paul was, they wanted to be the biggest sound in the world, so they came to my sound. That's how you clap sound. And from all the sound systems, like the musicians, like the girls, like the guys, they're just attracted to your thing. And that's what happened. So the Bristol thing wasn't like, this massive thing that, you da-da-da. It was simple. I used to play there every week. I had the biggest sound. They wanted to play on the sound. So if you want to play on the sound, you're in my sound. If you're not part of my sound, you're the enema. And that's how we brought sound. So the trick was you play my tunes, innit? If you're playing tunes like that, that means you must be making your own tunes. And then you start joining the dots. I'm not playing a tune that ain't frequency in my frequency, isn't it? So that was the other thing. We had this bohemian kind of attitude to RIAA, yeah? So my frequency is now beyond that, or below that, you see me? And that's the vibe of our DIY, that's the vibe of our community, that's the vibe of us being like the melting pot, that eclecticness, that you bring that here and we're inclusive now. Hold on, how about these chords? Oh, hey, I've got a harmonica player, you know what I mean? Mello coming with his album to the label, right? And then we never put the record out. Sorry, that's Carl, he used to run my label. And we never put the record out, right? Frequencies. It wasn't that the record was bad or anything, or we had any bad business. No, you had bad business, no, but anyway. It was the frequency. You see, it wasn't there, it wasn't now when you hear Lady Levi, Steely and Clevie, and me run with Stevie and Clevie, so that's from the earlies, like Sly and Robbie. Now, my rhythm section is Matthew and Fluxy, and they play with me, they teach me live, and from a child, I was in the house hearing them, and I draw their tunes on my sound. The community of our thing is so small, right? So within the pantomime of when you look and say Bristolians and sorry, when you said the Bristolian, I was thinking the place was all amplified. Anyway, see, I'm from a different time. The whole Bristolian thing. I used to play on the Fekla every week. How was my move there? Student union, right? How was my move in the student union? Brock into the arts. You know what I mean? Simple things. But you now as a sound man want to come and play me and talk rubbish to me, and you can't even squat in a yard. We had the squatters' rights. I wasn't a lawyer. My friend was studying to be a lawyer. His name is Judge Jules. You will know him as a DJ now. He used to run my door. And it's not a thing like, you're this, that, and the other. But it's the biggest sound. I learned from the big old sound men, you play souls. Keep the people in the dance area. My thing there was then turn it around, make them part of your thing. That's then, he wants to DJ, he wants to DJ. Oh, no, come then. If you flop, don't come back here. Right. It's a chance, right? It's all the same thing. I wouldn't put a tune out if my art's not in it, because it's the boss sound. And my tunes now, any of the tunes, you don't even know them, I'm killing sound with it, even today. And that's the jazz in terms of how I go about it, and the intellect, because of the elements and the ingredients in it. The depth of it is because there's wiseness I deal with. This is not a hobby, this is life. And inside of that life, you have to listen to lyrics. If you're not listening to lyrics, you're listening to melody. And within that melody, it's gonna trigger every lyric that you want to hear at that time. Miss Percival, she told me, I was 9 years old, Beresford, a great melody is never forgotten. I even know what melody is to her artist. All I knew, handle your sound, know when to draw the right tune, patience, and if you ever feel that losing is the end, don't start. Don't start.
All right, we're gonna ask another question. Not gonna forget about you, Paul McCombs.
Peace to the Funky Dre. Greetings, excellence. One of my favorite black cinema films was a movie made by Hype Williams named Billy. What was it like when you saw your song back to life in one of the best intros ever made in black cinema film?
I really want to meet him. I never met him. But, and I didn't know those statistics. I never met him.
I think it just opened up a lot of doors and a lot of ears into that music, because this young generation, they think that's one of the best intros everybody has one of their biggest songs in it.
Are you talking about the acapella or Back to Life?
Yeah, I think it's acapella. I think it was the club mix.
The acapella?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to inspire. I don't mean, you know what I mean? It's the vibration of whatever that is. That's what that was about. It was like, for all the last poets, for all, Eddie Grant and the Equals, for all the Mondays, for all the birth, from Pablo to Slim Smith, from Coxon to Studio One, from Decca to Pi. Every music is to be inspired. The record is like, it's not me, it's more, it's everyone's 110, you see me? It's just the vehicle now. It's like I had the balls just to do it, and it was from a bigger power. They took back the record. America sent back the record. 220 something copies came back through Warner's system.
What? Why?
Because it marked Club Classics and it had the acapella on it. Well, don't fret. Don't fret. You don't see that's a bigger thing. It made the record more unique, and it made the record for us. When you're digging in the crate and you're at downtown and you're going this place or you're in that shop, you're in that market store, you're in your cousin's record collection. You know, see it? That's the plan. Biggest sound in the world. And even if I tell you at the time, you call me liar, or you were changing. It's the Black Star Liner mentality still. See, I never ride the Black Star Liner. But in my dreams, I believe that place of Zion. And I believe the planet Ard exists. And I believe that the duties that I and I have to provide is to fight Rapataka's backers, to bring down to the planet the movement, the settlement, the necessities of some of the minerals that make us as African people of all nationalities come together as one under the sun. Our time has come.
Yes, sir. More questions. Kathleen.
First off, I gotta say, I want to thank you for your presence here today. I've personally been waiting for this moment since 1990. I missed the concert, and the concert didn't happen in 1990. We had the poster in our room growing up. I'm gonna start crying because I also have my 16-year-old son here today, so it's a real honor to have you, for him, and for the three of us to be together with our friends. But so I want to Back to Life, first of all, as a DJ. I do a couple things, but as a DJ, Back to Life is my song, though. If anything goes wrong, we go there. Acapella, 12-inch mix, whatever it be, we go there. And the video is a video that I was watching about 4 years ago. I was thinking, I would do anything to go back in time, to be old enough, to be in England, to have these clothes, and to be able to dance with these people on that rooftop. I would do anything. That's my comment, but I have a question. So I'm zooming in on Keep On Moving, and when Keep On Moving came out, and when you guys came over to this side of the Black Atlantic, the Afrocentricity was a big thing. You know, it's Soul to Soul in England, it's Public Enemy over here, it's Native Tongues, it's A Tribe Called Quest. And you know, if you can't see the Afrocentricity, I don't know what you're seeing. right? With the medallions and everything. But when I watch Keep On Moving, I also see a South Asian woman, and she's dancing Bharatanatyam, and you're in front of her, and you're following her movements.
Yeah.
And I'm asked this question, as you can guess, I'm also South Asian. I know that the Afrocentricity is a big part of this, but I'm also interested in the multiraciality of it all, and the multiraciality, multicultural, and I'm framing this question, the question I want to know more, specifically at that moment in time, late 80s or even 70s, but leading up to that moment, the multiraciality of everything, especially in the sound system world that you're working in. Because on this side of the Atlantic, black means a person of African descent.
Right.
But what I know, what I have read, is that black in England at that time meant anyone who came from the colonies,
Right.
which my parents did as well too. So I want to know more about this, the political blackness that kind of frames that moment. But I want to know more about that multiraciality that I see in the video, small glimmers. If I see a South Asian woman dancing behind you doing Bharatanatyam, that tells me there's more of that happening. That's a question I have. And I'm really interested in the selfish part of me is I'm really interested in the South Asian people who are
Let's get
hanging
to
out.
it. Let's get to it. One of the incredible things is we're here today with this exhibition. And one of the things that my co-pilot, Dean Zephyrin Saint, said, you got to do this, you got to do it here, because it makes sense of the cultural connection and the fact that the lady came to England, brought it here, and the fever of the ideas, we've all experienced that. The depth of it is, going towards answering your question, that's my community. I come from a working class situation. We're all tarred with the same brush: Irish, Greek, Turkish, Welsh, Scottish. We haven't even gone into colour. It's about universal love. That's, it doesn't matter. We're one family. Brothers and sisters related ancestrally. That's what it's about. This is our here. Una is our community. You're part of my community. I'm part of your community. This is us. You don't even see it, but it's more your emotion than what you're talking, because that's where we're inseparably linked. It doesn't matter if you're a tribe person, whatever your thing is, right? The frequency, this is our vibration. And if you want, it's our secret. Listen, if I tell you where the dance is tomorrow, are you going to tell anyone? So, remember the code. If you're not dancing, fuck off. That means put away your weed, your cocaine, whatever you're taking. We're going to get raided in a minute. Oh, we didn't get raided. It was a drill. And everyone was in the dance. My friends are from Pakistan, India, South Asia, East Asia. In a thing, right, with the colonies and all of the isms of that tiny country they call Great Britain. See, out of many we are one. And you see the feed, our juice, our energy is our music. Then we now break that down and we go into other areas where we all share and drink moringa every morning. Your Cersei, your Irish moss, isn't it? And wherever you can, you try and be clean and pure. And then somehow on your headphones you might hear a little out of phase, and then you get closer and you're playing Keep On Moving, you're listening to Jazzie's groove. And the rest of you are just back to life. And somehow, the vibrations, that energy, So when you see a video, it's the color that hook you. All the other things are secondary in terms of your senses and what it's supposed to mean. We're one family, people believe, brothers and sisters related. And in that music and the visuals and everything is for you to connect to that. And then that's our secret. I'm just blessed to even be here and know so that the family is neat and everybody is curry and cook and
We're blessed to have you here. That's great. I want to turn it over. Could bring it over to Paul here, yeah, in the front. Yeah. One of our great DJs, actually.
Thank you for being here, Jazzie. Welcome to Canada. And you said you're comfortable here in Toronto, but I think that might be, we have a similar multiculturalism, a similar kind of background, not American culture, right? Maybe you, I don't know if you expected that or not, but and you may even have family here, right?
I mean, yeah, more musical than blood.
Simon, yeah. Your brother Simon. My question was, I've always been into the Jamaican sound systems, and London being a big hub of that. When I'm more or less the same age as you, when coming up DJing, what was kind of like the environment of you guys breaking off sort of the traditional sound system, Caribbean, reggae, dub, and you guys became sort of this new culture of funky dreads. And you're looking in the crowd and you're seeing many different faces, colors, and creeds. And I think you guys were kind of the first generation to experience that. Can you tell me about the environment, how you, maybe your sense of pride in that, or just how you acknowledge that and the vibe of that?
The vibe of it was the class system. And growing up, my friends, good friends of mine were black and white. I was blessed to go to the Caribbean a lot as a child as well. And I noticed in the Caribbean, there's not racism, because there's everybody. And if there's racism, it's only because maybe religion or ignorance, but when the people are poor and you're poor together, I know you push and pull, man, and it's in a way that's how it was, because there was always different hierarchies and stuff like that. Even if you said, I'm Jamaican and you're from Trinity or you're from Barbados, or you know what I mean, all that kind of thing. Yeah, that was nice. When you come in our thing now, it was different, and we were the generation that was more rebellious. We were more rebellious maybe because we were exposed to punk, and it was the attitude of the punk, right? And then we're going against the grain of the system, so it was the attitude of the system. All of us burned blue paraffin, from Finsbury Park to Highgate, and Highgate is deemed an affluent place, and I know this because my brother was a paraffin boy. Same way that maybe another sister was the only black person who went to that school. The argument about fitting in, bun that, we're not into that. We take the same like ours. You want to eat jerk chicken and da-da-da-da. I'll go to another shop and I'll be eating latkes and some smashed up chicken with breadcrumbs on it, a couple gherkins. And another person will go to Trini's house and eat pepper and bust on 2 chickpeas and whatever, oh my God. And then you go to someone from Dominica and you eat their dumpling. Days. And it continues. And I wasn't really into bagels after the gig, but I'll tell you what I did, we used to love, and Daddy was the king of that, onion bar juice. But we felt that our palate was deep like that because we would be mashing down on 2 carrots and some hummus, whilst everybody was eating greasy chicken. Are you feeling where I'm going with this? Right, yeah, it was. We would go and wait outside a club that wouldn't allow us in. Me take blow for that. If my brother knew about that, he'd tear some licks in me. And the thing is, I was like, suppose I get in though. Suppose I get in this place though.
We understand, we know.
Shit. And you know what? It has got to the point where I'm not even really interested. I went back and played for them man there. And I ended up in the same brick wall. You're playing for these guys all the time. You got to play souls, you got to play this, you got to play fucking clips. And you might as well be playing in a strip club without a direction. And that's what was happening. All the sounds, they didn't, the selector didn't own the sound. So it was like doing a transfer in the Premier League, right, in our league. So if Festos moved from this sound and draw for this sound now, and you know, that sound becomes the best sound, and then you start knowing it's true the selector. But selector not no money. Banker smile. So you have to amongst the bankers. And that's why I became a banker. So I built my own sound. I played my own way. I was always unorthodox. They're playing downbeat, I'm playing King David. They're playing this, I'm playing Tom Jones. And I'm playing Tom Jones in my dance. I've been playing Tom Jones since 1977. And that's like, keep on moving. I know the tunes to draw, and I learn from great selectors. Sound men who don't own the sound and sleeping on sponge. And I learned that. Remember, I carried the KT88, so me I got in the big room when I count the money. Banker smile. And when you see that now, then you realize some of that money I forgot to build back the sound, you know, because if I pop the tweeter and it's you know, Mr. Francis sound, he needs his sound for Sunday service. You have to put back that tweeter. Imagine you borrow the man's sound and you brought down his tweeter, you can't go borrow that sound again. So me and Daddy, we built our own sound. Because when we were young, we had to go in the back of the van. We carried double 18s. I'll tell you, we carry music. We carry systems from the ground floor, 18 floors, right? By hand, slip, you know. All your fingers, you're like a boxer. But love it, God no, love it. But then we said, we're not sleeping in the back of the van no more. And then everyone laugh at you, biggers laugh at you, whatever. So I didn't borrow his amp, I borrow his box that he doesn't use. So you get me, it's like build up my sound and Then I got sweet because they said, no one ain't telling me what to do. They might tell me to turn it down because you're playing in someone's house and you mash up the drinks cabinet. But no one told me what to play. So you see, when I draw for Benny and the Jets in the middle of the dance, and man is looking at me like they want to bomb me. But you see the gal them, and the gal them sugar. So when you hear even when you hear Levi draw on some of his lyrics and he says certain things about soul to soul, because we draw the gal them and we play to the gal. So that was when we were Lovers Rock. And we still have 2 more chapters to go still. I'm jumping in between, and that I'm trying to give you the answer to the question, you know, how it is in my head. It's never a direct thing because you don't know where the star liner is going. And that's the narrative here, right? Does the pilot know? And I can't tell you where that is because when we go for bury that sound, and if you cut the same dub as me fucking up. You have to pay money to cut dub. Imagine you cut dub, right? It's over £100 to cut a dub. The dub play once, you know. You have to know what I'm going when we call it juggling. See when you juggle sound and we play a song, that's why no sound can't play me. Because we play east and west, north and south, divided by none. often imitated but never duplicated. Jack Raddick said that. And you see, that's a mentality there. I doesn't come from Jamaica. Finsbury Park are born and grow, you see me? But all of the people amongst me, whether Scottish, Irish, love that Irish, all of the nationalities amongst me, you see me? Like the German man that they know how to fix electronic equipment, them man is from the war and stuff like that. We befriend them. The old gangsters, they get us our cars and all that lot. You know, go push and pull. If the man is selling drugs on the corner and it's not your drugs, push and pull. You might have to pull him in. And that's how the sound. It's the same mentality. They're going to play Inner Visions. You're going to play the 3rd track. I'm playing the 5th track on the other side. Draw for it. And you see, because it's not the song, it's your intention. Because I'm playing that after some stupidness, you know what I mean? And that brings you and cleanses your palate. And then the girl them sugar again.
So I'm never gonna feel embarrassed about playing Benny and the Jets at the dance.
You can't, because when you listen Benny and the Jets and you're a DJ, right? Listen Benny and the Jets. Listen to hearing that. Tell me you can't play.
It's beautiful.
Anything in that. Huh?
Absolutely.
Look at all that.
He was on, Elton John was on Soul Train doing
Me
it.
not even know that. Me come from England, you know. But look at that. And I'm saying, if you're saying that is a fact, and I'm talking, I'm a selector. Me not even know about that. I don't buy my records don't come from Smith and Menzies and Woolworths and all them places, Sam Goody and all that. No, sir. My tune gonna come from the back of Jetstar or in someone's house. You understand that? I can't tell you where I'm going with this sound. If I draw the tune, right? I find the tune in your house, you know. You're in my sound. If I tell you I took the tune, and the night there when you're saying, everyone's creep, oh, what's he gonna play now? You know, they're gonna kill you. They don't bury you, you understand? They're on your last tune. Promoter wants to turn on the light. All you've got left is your pride. I played My Boy Lollipop, what I took from you.
Yeah.
I don't even finish playing My Boy Lollipop. My Boy Lollipop. Take
my heart go.
Are you gonna tell them about you make my heart go giddy? And by that time I'm wrapping up my sound.
He's out.
That was the fun. That was the innocent, because see, we can control that in our drama room, in the adventure playground. Mummy, our parents would give us one room when we was little teenagers. Go on now, have you on a party in there. We're practicing, we're acting like big people, we're following all them big. And then I used to sneak in, I was in Norwich. If every week Norwich go on, me in there, because they have a young session and an old session. And if you know me carry box, right? I mean, my brothers are notorious, so I got in anyway, but I carry box to fit in, isn't it? And I'm in the dance. Every sound from Cools to Safrana B, I even can name sounds like Silver Camel. And you've never heard of that sound. If you ever hear that sound play, you cry murder. And I was in the dance. So when I heard a tune that they played, right, it was a tune, in crowd. I saw that tune. The tune come out, I think, on Cactus, is a yellow label. Me have the tune on a blue label, in a Mark Knott. That's how we draw a tune, you get me? I'm in the dance. See, when I said I'm queuing up, I'm looking to get into, let's say, this man called Robbie Vincent is a DJ. They always blank us. Any black person goes to a club in East London, what they call 1 in 1 out, it's a quote, yeah? And we was dumb, go out there and stand up all night. That's why we love Steve Walsh. He's our God, rest in peace. Also Benjamin Zephaniah, rest in peace. he's from Birmingham, and that big sound was Mombasa, and them sound there. Yeah. Oh, well, look, even that. And then you're talking about Mafia, I'm talking about Downbeat, El Rico, from Safrana B, even going, oh, we'll have a conversation. Anyway, that's how, the point I'm trying to give off is like, it doesn't even necessarily have a structure. The thing is a feeling, your stomach. And then the chest with it is knowledge. And in the knowledge, it's the old people. If you don't keep old people amongst you, you flop. Because you don't realize when the thing is going wrong, they'll be the ones who can tell you, go so, walk west, and so on and so forth. The young ones, is like, we need them because they doesn't have the inhibitions. But when you get the counter now, it's that balance, really, and I find that that's what life is about. So I share that in my community, and I try to bring that in the music that helps to feed us, that helps to inspire, and more important, help to trigger life. Because it doesn't matter the state of mind, Bex, lose money, broke, whatever, you listen to that music now, so much colors, so sweet. And then you know how to absorb. And the only difference is, I will navigate and tell you where the bathroom is. And that's the sound. So, you have to take in all that, blah, 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 and then when you come out, it's that expression. And like I said, me have the plan where I go. And it's not me, it's just I'm the pilot, isn't it? One make a decision, the rest will follow. I don't know, just the way we thought things should be, and I guess the way things should go, soul to soul.
Thank you so much, Jazzie. Yeah. All right. We were going to shut it down. We have a very anxious young man in the front here, so yeah, here you go.
All right, respect, Jazzie. I guess, you started off the seminar here, we're talking about dub culture and sound system culture, and we could definitely see how that's influenced the music, right? But now you're a Caribbean man, you're in Babylon, you're in foreign. I think that soul to soul, you say that you're only a product of your environment, right? And I think that soul to soul could have only been created of you being in Great Britain at that time. I don't think that music could have come out, because that music has resonated not only from people in Camden, in Brixton, in the UK, but a room full of us in Toronto, Canada, and in the America.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about that. Why do you think that some of the most seminal music of soul music has come out not from America, where it's created soul and R&B, but from the UK yourself?
That's a great question, and I think somehow mixed up in the answer is the fact that, London is the shopping window of the rest of the world. And
Come on.
the velocity, right, of the creativity
Colonial power
is kind of endless there, because it's a spirit and it's a feeling. And I am 110% backed by Lloyd Bradley that Soul to Soul would have only happened in London in the way it did. And even when I checked the families, is there any of my blood relations in it? Anyway, my hide from but the difference where people came here, people went to America, people went to England, and how it was split is very interesting. But within the realms of society and all the aspects, it's kind of like, look, we're from the colonies anyway, so this is just an extension of that. And then here we are 3 or 4 generations later, a little bit more savvy. But then we blend.
There it is.
We start blend. We eat ramen noodles. We don't even know so what yarm is again. Or worse than that, we end up in the West system, yeah, where they call about what is civilized and what isn't civilization. And then this is where man and man start breaking down and so on. So, we're from the planet Ard, right, spelled A-R-D. We're sent down to Earth to fight against rat attackers. That could be sugar, that could be, bad music, terrible taste in relationships, etc. So we're all part of fighting that. And in that, our medicine, I guess is herb. Music, draw with herb. Expression is a form of movement. And in that movement, whether it's basketball, football, ping pong or swimming, ice hockey, right? Or curling. It's all a source. There's things that have to fuel that. And I'm suggesting that we all came together in this interest in, under this banner of this colonialism, and we took all the good minerals, or even better still, the chicken foot back, and all the dust and the sharash leaf. See how we blend it? And then we share that with, let's say, Nigeria meets South Africa. And the fight is South Africa actually Africa? It's such an infrastructure. Yeah, because they got 1,000,000,001 different language. Now you blend that with us, and then Nigeria come with Jamaica, and then Jamaica come with Ireland, and then Ireland, look a bit of Scottish oats, That's what's going on in school, and then that's what makes our thing really powerful. Then we all join up. Music is the key, and then there's a style of music, and there's a feeling in the music, and then when you hear keep on moving, it's like Wagadav, see it there? All connected, all respected, none neglected. It's the music is that essence, and it's so here, you can't even see it, but when you feel it. And that's what it is, the feeling. So when you hear that thunderous bass, it's a happy face underneath. Joined together
for a loving race. Jazzie, I got a little gift for you. Got a little record here that some of my favorite music just put out. It's for years I made little CDs for friends, but this is a new record. Yeah, they're gonna sell it at the AGO bookstore here. It's just, it's music that I loved, past and present. So we're going back to like Samande, and we're going through to Jamaican artists like Tenor Saw, and we're running over to West Africa, but not Fela. We're gonna do like Peter King. It's like a little bit from Brazil, a little bit. So it's the Black Atlantic. It's the experience.
So tell me something. I'm a bit of a nerd and a collector when it comes to high fidelity. Would you say Garrard 301 or 401? No, right? See, now it's debatable. I'm thinking of the time. A-I-A-A. R-I-A-A. And we're the bandwidth and what we tune into. So those toner. Our next story.
A vinyl guy, look at you.
Quick question. Are you bringing Soul to Toronto?
Are you bringing Soul to Toronto, Jazzie? The people have asked. And you connected to Toronto. Your daughter is here. Come on, man. Talk to her.
The weirdest thing when you said, am I bringing Soul to Soul? Are we bringing Soul to Soul? All right? So it's a we thing. So on the map, no. If we are so, if me are not so. So together, yes, yeah.
And at the party.
But leave me one for do it. Can't work, sir. So as long as you're there and 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 you're in there and you're there, this is my families here. This is the music families, yes? This is our music. The part, so when I want to go out there and tell them where the place is now, you know, right? So you're in the sound there, remember it's inclusive, right? We're all this way, you know. All forward. So if you got the vibe and you say, oh, you got to come to Canada, you got to do this, we do it. And then as the disciples, as the man them, or like we would say soldiers, you equip yourself with whatever it is. You can make the sandwich, go and make the sandwich, Linda. But me know you're not cheese, so. If you're gonna make this, you're gonna look after the green room, you're gonna make sure the transport right, More time you're gonna make sure as the families that cousin, this one's here, that one's there. Yeah, I remember she got the record. This is our Facebook, Instagram, or whatever you want to call it, our website. Your tone, your frequency to the next person, that's what we're about. That's what we connect to. So it's we, yeah? And the Starliner is heading this way, yeah? Only you lot can fuck it up. If you're not dancing, fuck off. So if we're together with it, right? That's English. We speak this way. It's a form of expression. It's not in any way harmful or meaning any disrespect, right? So what that means is that if we say, right, we're gonna go in 6 weeks' time, you've got to find this place. Who's the lawyer? Who's the sparks? Who's the carpenter? Who's gonna draw the sound? We're gonna need 15s, we need 80. We are the ones. So when we're on the Starliner now, we know we have to come to Toronto because the families is here. So technically, yeah.
Folks, we gotta wrap it up. It's been over an hour and a half, but we're having fun. I'm sure if you got your records here, Jazzie was excited for you. I want to thank everyone for coming out, and Jazzie, much love to you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, how you doing? I'm the one.
Huh?
The book.
Oh man,
I'm the one.
you watched One to Be Held, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
The first one. Yeah, no, I'm sitting right there.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So you got the cash and stuff?
Let me see if I find it. I'll see if I have it. Yeah. I'm glad I came over because I was like, I hope he doesn't get rid of my book.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back. All right. Very cool, eh? Cool.